Now let's move to Melbourne now. Some breaking news and some good news. Earlier this afternoon, I spoke to 32-year-old Ms Coffey, who was asked to pay $7,000, or at least $7,000, to charter her own flight from Sydney to Melbourne to quarantine before seeing her father, who has been admitted to palliative care. In the last hour, there's been a fresh development in the story. Pat Murrell is with me live from Melbourne. Pat, talk us through these exclusive details you've got.
Well, Kieran, good afternoon. As you know, you spoke to Ms Coffey earlier in the day, and she spoke to you of the difficulty she's been having navigating the hotel quarantine system in Australia. Of course, last week she found out that her father had suffered a stroke and didn't have long left, so she flew from New York to Australia on the first flight. Problem was, Kieran, of course, that was to Sydney, but her dad is in palliative care in Melbourne. She then began a process, what she thought would be a simple process of applying for a compassionate exemption to travel from Sydney to Melbourne. Unfortunately, it was a lot harder than she thought, and at the end of it was told that she wouldn't be allowed to drive and that she'd have to shell out up to $8,000 for her own charter flight for the chance to go and see her dad. Here's Anna earlier in the day.
Started what I thought would be a simple, relatively simple transfer from hotel quarantine in Sydney to Melbourne, so that I could have the chance to, be able to see him a little bit. On Friday morning, provided some documents to both New South Wales government and Vic government, but kind of since that point, it's been very challenging, very slow moving, have a lot of documentation I have to provide. And then in addition to that, been told that the only way that I can be safely transferred between the two states is by a charter plane, which the quotes that I found are looking at around $7,000 to $8,000.
Kieran, $8,000 is an enormous amount of money for someone to shell out when they've already paid for an international flight and for hotel quarantine. Marjorie Pagani is the CEO of Angel Flight Australia, a charity that takes rural and regional Australians to medical appointments around the country if they can't afford to. She saw the story on Sky News this morning and reached out to Anna, offering volunteer pilots to fly her from Sydney to Melbourne. This plan has been approved, I understand, by New South Wales and Victorian health authorities. Anna will now be flying to Melbourne on Friday, where she'll get to see her dad one last time.
I saw the story on Sky News, I must say, and I then jumped on board, and we took some steps to contact Anna, to contact various officials in the New South Wales and Victorian government. And as a consequence of that and the letters we've written and the contacts we've had, we're now very, very pleased to say that both governments have now issued the go-ahead for Anna to fly, and we have a pilot on standby and waiting for either Thursday or Friday. But at this stage, because the governments have both, just as we speak, released these authorities.
Kieran, this whole story really speaks to some of the unintended fallout of Australia's hardline border and quarantine policy. In this case, though, there has been a positive outcome, even though it has taken time to get there.
Pat, there has been, and to Marjorie Pagani at Angel Flight, thank you so much for stepping in and giving Anna a chance to see her father. Appreciate the update, Patrick. Thank you. Now